Welcome, fight fans.
The Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast.
Your Fight Talk Authority.
Not to mention the most entertaining and talked about podcast with your kick-ass host, Richard Ortiz.
You mad? Come at me, bro.
And his loyal kick-ass co-host, Senor Cole Escobedo.
Streaming live and worldwide.
Coming to you all the way live from a little place somewhere in Cali. The Fighters Boys
Kick-Ass Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing? And welcome to the Fighters Voice Kick-Ass Podcast. We got a great show for you today. Actually, we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about some very important topics on how we're going to change the world and how we're going to help the world. And we're going to have fun along the way. I want to welcome our co-host with the most, the UFC veteran himself, the Apache Kid, Mr. Cole Escobedo. How we doing, Cole?
What's going on, amigo? How are the cats?
Hey, Cole, I can only see a shadow of you. You must be like underwater or underground or something, man. But I'll pick you up. All right, we'll make that adjustment as we go. But ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today, taking time out, as you can see the background live from Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, the WBC, the WBO, super lightweight champion of the world, the one, the only, from Avenal, California, Jose Ramirez. Welcome to the show, Jose.
How's it going, Richard? Happy to be here with you, bro.
You know, I appreciate you taking the time, man, because, you know, you had to make some adjustments because of the training and staying sharp. And I'm going to tell you this right now, Jose. I've never had so many questions come in today since you're going to be on the show. I mean, you'd be surprised that they were coming in from. But before we address those and have some fun, I mean, let's get right to the carne asada, man, the best part of the meal. Let's talk about why we're here, the cause, and how we're going to change people's lives, and how you're using your platform, your name, and your status to make an impact, not only in California, but worldwide. Let's talk about what's going on in the fields.
Well, you know what, Richard, we're going through this COVID-19. It's hurt a lot of people, you know. It's put a lot of people from their jobs, and it's hurting the elderly, people who are sick, you know. So it came to the United States fast, you know, and it came hard and fast, and it brought a lot of panic. So it brought a lot of panic to the people, and they started heading to the stores. They started buying all the supplies, stocking up on toilet paper, hand sanitizer, all those vitamins, all those supplies, right? We got our field workers working, you know, and their job, you know, they're responsible for 88% of the produce that's produced in the Central Valley that goes on nationwide. So they feed us, man. So me, Dr. Bautista, the Bautista Foundation, alongside Dr. Guzman, you know, we decided to put this package together for a farm worker, for a field worker, and we're trying to help at least 1,000 plus field workers with packages that consist of those items I just mentioned, that people buy them, you know, and when they come out, when they go back home after work, we're talking about 5 o'clock in the evening. So when they go to the grocery stores, everything's sold out. So we're trying to help them out, making sure they have those supplies, the mask, the gloves, the little extra, the vitamins, anything that's going to boost the immune system at the same time, proper nutrition, food, you know, to help them, boost their immune system as they work through this COVID-19.
No, and you know what? Every effort helps. Jose, can I get you to get in the frame just a little bit, please, if you could, right in the middle? There you go, because I want all the viewers, man, to check out that full beard that you got growing right now, man. Cole, when you hear that, when you hear an athlete such as the status that Jose Ramirez is in, and using his platform and getting his boots dirty, so to speak, and going out there, volunteering, and starting the wheel, making it go round again in our valley. How does that make you feel, Cole, knowing that, hey, he is making a difference?
He did exactly that. He's using his position and his platform and his reach, so to speak, that he's built years and networked to actually put it to some positive use. He realistically could just sit there and use it to brand himself and market himself and take sole advantage of that. But he's using his position to where, like, it just kind of hit him like, I can do some good and I'm in a position to do something. He's not passing up an opportunity. There's opportunity. There's opportunities to make money, et cetera, things like that. But there's also opportunities in life that you're going to be afforded, like Jose finds himself into, where you can do something for those who might not be able to do anything in return for you except be grateful for your help. And that's pretty much good enough, is what it sounds like.
So he's just not recognized here in Fresno or in Avenal every time he steps outside his house or his new house in Clovis, California. I mean, he's being recognized by the New York Post, CNN, TMZ. Got a special message and call from Mario Lopez, who is a TV host, TV personality, and is known global. Everybody's behind Jose on this. He no longer has to put Fresno on his back and on his shoulders and say, I'm going to do it by myself. He has the whole world behind him and supporting him. Jose, when you get those reviews and you hear that happening and you know that people are in your corner, so to speak, how does that make you feel, not only as an athlete, but as a man?
Well, first and foremost, Richard, my main goal here is to help out the field workers and for people to actually recognize the importance of those field workers in the United States. It's not about me. It's not about the Bautista Foundation. It's not about no one. It's about the field workers. It's for people to really appreciate and acknowledge how important those people are in the United States. If it wasn't for them, who'd be feeding us right now? This brought a lot of panic to the people. So people are actually scared to leave their house. But we have this hardworking, with good work ethic, strong, people who wake up early at 5 in the morning. They do not complain. They head out to their job, and they're making sure the harvesting is getting done. And I respect that. So it's good to see people, getting behind this, getting behind them, and that's what makes me happy.
Jose, I mean, you've hit it right on the nail, man. I mean, we all like orange juice, and some even like wine. Some love raisins, and that stuff doesn't get processed and produced by itself. Now, I'm going to take it a little further, Jose.
Right.
The people that are out there, they have no benefits. They don't get to call in sick. They do. The check stops. They're exposing themselves to this virus because they got to pay their bills, bring that income needed. And at the same time, they're producing for us. We have the luxury sometimes of staying home, but every morning we're drinking orange juice. And in the evening, some are drinking wine. And like I said, it doesn't get done by itself.
Yeah, definitely. And we're not, what actually makes me respect them more is that, I mean, there's a lot that don't have the status, the opportunities to file for unemployment, to get the extra $600 a week, that's being offered. There's a lot that have legal status, and they're still out there working, but they're faithful to the jobs. They're faithful to their employers. They're faithful with the responsibility of loving what they do, and that right there, it's I admire that and I respect that. But now we got to make sure they have the proper vitamins, the proper nutrition. We're also going to be including a health card that's going to give them tips on some safety, right? And that's being done by Dr. Bautista, obviously. And I'm happy to see that I'm getting from different people, from the general public to some of my good friends, like even Quincy Pondexter, who him and his friends, I think they committed to $10,000. So money like that, man, especially during these times, I appreciate that. There's actually a lady who called in and she wanted to donate her stimulus check, her $1,200 stimulus check that she got from doing her taxes. She donated those $1,200, and for me, man, she's like the real MVP on this, because even donate $20,000 of my own pocket compared to what I make. It's not a big percentage, though. And someone who's making, you know, a lot less, and donates $1,200 out of their, you know, pockets, man, that's big right there, Richard. So that shows you how people respect a lot of these field workers, and even those who don't have the status. That's why we fight so hard to come out with the proper immigration reform to get them with their legal status and make sure they they continue to work as they do and continue to contribute to the community and to the economy in the United States, but without that fear factor that they live with.
Jose, when you mentioned that to me about the woman giving her her $1,200, I can't help but reference that to, I don't know the scripture offhand, but the lady in the Bible. Those riches they gave because they had money. This lady didn't have much, but yet she
Right,
gave everything she had, and she was blessed. So I just wanted to
right.
give a reference there too, and also give a shout out to Dr. Batista and Dr. Guzman. Cole, you can concur with what's going on with the struggle without getting personal or anything. Bills add up. Life continues to go on. We're at a standstill, so to speak. Cole, I know you shared with me how you've been making ends meet and how you continue to go forth, man. Hearing what Jose's doing and hearing what's going on in the world, what's your feedback on that?
It's hard to really do anything but kind of mirror the same thing because he's kind of right on the head. There's a lot of people that are in situations that they personally themselves have never found themselves in. I know people that their parents are like, dude, it's never been this bad since I was even younger. So to know that the economic effects that this event's going to take on us is the real like long-term picture that we really need to be concerned about, that is having an effect right now. And like he said, there's people that they may not be able to qualify for unemployment. They've been working hard. They've been working on a chain that supplies food and things and keeps the grocery store shelves. So it's hard. That's a really bad area to fall in when you do work hard and you are trying to supply people with something they need in a time where not everybody can do that. So that's why having these foundations and these things that Jose are putting on are important, because it's helping get those needed things to those people that are doing it, that we just know the way the system works, they probably don't qualify for it at some level. They hit a point to where it's just, yeah, but they hit a certain point to where it's just like, yeah, you don't qualify. What do they do? Like, it's hard. It's a real gray area where they still are human beings. They should still get stuff. They're working hard. It becomes a red tape thing that is preventing them from getting necessities and things just like everyone else, because they're hurting just as much as anybody else, regardless of what some piece of paper might say or not.
Right.
You're absolutely
One thing I
right.
also
Yeah,
want to,
right.
yeah, one thing I also want to add to, there's always people who say, well, they don't have the status, so why should the government give them something? Or why should they be, uh, in the position where should they qualify for some of the help? But little that these people know is that the farm workers, uh, even if they don't have legal status, there's still a lot of money going into a Social Security that doesn't match their Social Security. So they're still getting a percentage, and they're still paying taxes. They are still paying that money into that Social Security that goes in this fund in the Federal Reserve. And I'm talking about billions of dollars from all these undocumented people who work in the United States, uh, and then they never get that money back. You feel me? They never get that money back. That stays there, and the government, they do what they wish with that money. So so I want to make sure that if people got something to counter on, like, oh, well, they don't, they shouldn't benefit as they don't have legal status. Well, little do they know that these people actually contribute to some of the money that goes into that Federal Reserve Fund. So, but at the end of the day, enough with politics. I respect what they do. I'm happy to see that we're getting a lot of support, as you see. And we're able to provide over 1,000 boxes, and I'm actually heading back tomorrow night after training, so I could be there Friday and help them with with all that mess we have now. We're putting all the boxes together, so I want to thank the Supermercado, Rico from Supermercado in Fresno, for allowing us to use his warehouse behind his supermarket, to put all the stuff that we're getting, because we're getting thousands of bags of almonds. We're getting thousands of packages of toilet paper. We're getting over 2,000 bottles of hand sanitizer. We're getting 10,000 masks for the employee and their family. We're getting rice, 25,000 pounds of rice. I mean, so I mean, we're putting this real nice for them, and I think they deserve it. Like I said, they're feeding
Absolutely.
us, so we want to make sure that they continue doing these jobs uh, with that proper precaution. And I was talking to Mark Krieger, Mark from ESPN. He called me last night, and he said, what I like about this, Jose, is that the money that's being contributed by the people, it's real money. It's by real people. Then it's not a big billionaire who's putting the money in. It's not multi-million-dollar companies who are sponsoring the event. This is real people, helping donate with $10, $25, $50 into this fund, to be able to buy this stuff for the people. So I'm happy that me and Dr. Bautista and some of the leaders in Fresno um, started doing this, and with all the media and social media, like yourself, Richard, for spreading the word, spreading the positive word of this movement, so to speak, that we created.
Very well said, Jose. And when that comes from the people, that means it truly comes out of love. I mean, they're really passionate about it. Speaking of passionate, Jose, you've always, since I've known you, always been passionate about the labor forces that are out there, the lack of water at times, the lack of respect. Let's keep it real. And you're bringing awareness. First and foremost, you're bringing awareness. I mean, you brought awareness to me because there's something you talked about today that I really wasn't too keen on as far as knowing the facts. And we talked about still the Social Security, but that's a whole new segment. That's when I introduce you as Mayor of Fresno, Jose Ramirez. But you know what, Jose? I'm going to be honest with you. I've never had so much questionnaire come in today. I'm not going to be able to use it all,
Yeah.
but I want to use what I have. First of all, I want to ask you, man,
All right.
like everybody, I ask you, how's training camp going and how are you holding up?
Well, Richard, my fight got canceled or postponed twice. So it's been somewhat a headache. There's been a lot of frustration because of all the sacrifices we go through. Coming to Riverside, leaving the family back home, and sparring, taking that. We take a lot of punishment during training. So, and you got to see me train for the first time I got canceled. Um, and we have plans, we have goals in our career. We want to stay active as professional athletes. I have financial plans, uh, investments that I had planned for me and my future and the family. But it happens, man. Good thing I've been very blessed. I fought two big fights the year before in 2019. So I've been very blessed, with my career. So I'm pretty, calm, and my composure is calm with financial part. But I came back to Riverside this week to get back in into the field of you could say pre-camp. I
Yeah.
don't want to get too much time off and get too lazy out there in Fresno. But we're just waiting for a date still. We have nothing. There's nothing scheduled. There's nothing guaranteed right now. So I'm just here working out. It's not even training camp. It's just I'm here, staying in shape and staying sharp,
Maintenance.
working with Robert Garcia. I mean, I'm fighting the same guy, Victor Pusto. So we gotta continue working on some things.
There you go. Cole, before I go in on these questions, man, I know you got something for the champ, man. What do you have?
Dude, I was actually hoping to ask you, Jose, what has that been like as far as having fight so many times so close together? How off of your normal peak fight recovery rhythm has that actually thrown you off on? Have you noticed a difference? Do you find it harder to get the fight camp going again, seeing as how you've had to get all the way to peak moment and then for nothing? You know what I mean? Like it's gotta be taking a toll even without damage almost.
Yeah, I mean, the first time was worse than the second time. The first time, it was a week and a half before the fight. I was about to take off. I got the call in the morning before I left to China, so I
Mm.
got lucky there. Uh, but yeah, I took I was with like 2 weeks without direction of what was going to happen. Are we going to bring it to the States? Be on the Wilder card against Tyson Fury? Uh, there was no direction, but after 2 weeks, yeah, definitely schedule this to a further
Yeah,
date. Um,
a
and
lot up in the air. It sounds like.
Yeah, so it was I at that time I just left the gym. I just completely forgot about boxing. I wanted my mind to just forget about boxing for a few weeks. I spent it with my family.
Mental reset.
So something about me is that when I fight, man, and it's time for me to go on vacation, I literally don't talk about boxing with my family. I don't watch boxing much. I really get away and let my mind be stress free from the sport a bit. But then
Well,
I got
you got to
back into
remind
it
yourself
for
that
the
there's
second
other
time,
things besides boxing.
right? So, I started, just being a normal guy, going back to my, living a normal life, as a father, as a son, as a brother. But
Hmm.
the second time the training camp, I was only in for 4 weeks, so I wasn't even in my peak. So right now the first week I started back, Robert's dad, Big G, he came in. He was excited to watch me train. He's been bored in his house. It was his first time in the last month. He came out. He saw me worked out, and he goes, man, Jose's in shape. He's ready. He's ready to fight. But my maturity is coming in. My maturity is coming in. I feel like every time I go back, I come back into camp. I feel like I left off where I started. So, um, but I like to
Yeah.
really get my 8 weeks in.
Consistent
I
progression
really
then.
like to. Yeah. So I really, but at the end of the day, I like to get a day scheduled and get my 8 weeks from the date of the fight, because I have my routine and I
Hmm.
like to follow it. I like to follow it.
Yeah,
Uh,
consistency.
Consistent, yeah, exactly. I like to be consistent every day. We have a plan. It's like we have a. I mean, Charles and Robert, we have it mapped up. And I like to follow directions and go through that. So right now I came early just to stay sharp, just to stay in shape, because I know before you know it, they're gonna be like, hey, Jose, from here to 7, 8 weeks, you gotta fight. You're gonna fight. So that's why I wanna be one of the first fights to come back into the TV when all this opens up.
Hmm. Hmm. It's a good goal to have.
That's
Yeah, but yeah, it's difficult, brother. It's
a great plan.
definitely difficult. As fighters, man, we have to follow our regiment, our plans, our schedule, and when we're about to go, hit the peak level, and then all of a sudden the fights move, that throws you off.
Hmm.
The good thing is that May 9th, the good thing is that it gave me 4 weeks before May 9th was still a further date. It wasn't like it was going to be in March or in April. So that's why I told Greg, look for a date in May, not April, not March, because I don't like to take 2 weeks off and then go back and
Something's.
in 3 weeks fight. Yeah, I like to take 4 weeks
Yeah, plus
off
it
and then
gives you
do
less
another
likely that
90
it'll get
camp.
canceled or moved.
Right. So now we're looking at a day, maybe July so far of what I heard.
Well,
Okay.
that's good news for boxing fans. Very, very good news.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
promoters and networks are working together to open this up.
There you go, man. And before you
Speaking of
know it, you
opening
get
up, you want to open up that list of questions?
absolutely. You know what? This is coming first from Raquel Miller, female women's champion of the world. Jose, what is the biggest lesson you've
Yeah.
learned from the Olympics? From Raquel Miller.
I think becoming an Olympian, I got the confidence within me to know that I'm one of the best in the world, and I'm going into the professional as one of the best amateurs to go professional. Uh, that was the biggest thing that I got from being an Olympian. Uh, it didn't go the way I wanted to when I didn't come back with the gold. But we learned. We faced the best fighters in the world. And it was good. It was good to see Raquel Miller in the amateurs too. I do remember who she is, and she was in the she went to some international tournaments actually too. Um, and but anyways, it was a beautiful it was a beautiful experience for me to be an Olympian, and they opened up the doors for me to sign a big deal with a big promoter right away.
Yeah, exactly. Those that know your story, exactly, they know that. Now, this is coming from Jeff Herring, WBO junior lightweight champion of the world. He's having some fun today. He said, "Ask Jose, who was his roommate during the Olympic trials, and who had the best stories?"
Who's that? Jamal Herring?
It's coming from Jeff Herring. Jeff Herring, yes, the WBO junior lightweight champion of the world. He said, "Ask Jose, who was his roommate during the Olympics trials, and who had the best stories to tell?"
Oh yeah, no, Jamal. He 130 pounder, WBO.
Yep.
He was my roommate, man. He came to Fresno. He fought in Fresno. He's a Marine. And he was the captain of our U.S. Olympic team. And he's always been the underdog, man. And look at him now. He's a world champion. He's a great father. He's a great person. And he went as an amateur as a 141, and I went as a lightweight 132. And now as in the professionals, we switched. I'm a junior welterweight, and he's a junior lightweight. Um, so it's good to see him, man. It's good to see him be successful. He's with Crawford. He's with a good Bomac. He has a great team behind him, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Actually, he was on the show last night, and he had nothing but good words to say about you. I actually
Yeah.
posted something earlier. I tagged you. Later on, you have time, you can check out exactly what he had to say coming out of his mouth. Next question is from Joel De La Hoya, the brother of Oscar De La Hoya. He said, "How good is Virgil Ortiz Jr., Jose?"
Man, I think that's fighter Golden Boy has in his list of fighters they signed. He's a good fighter. He's hungry. He's dedicated. Uh, he's respectful. He respects the sport. He respects his body. He's very disciplined. Every time every time they ask Virgil about me, he says he looks up to me. So I admire the fact that he's honest and he's a genuine guy. And his father is behind him 100% too. So he's gonna be a future world champion. He'll fight. He'll give anybody at 147 a great fight. Uh, but he's being patient. Being patient. He's waiting for the right time, and when that time does come, he will be world champion.
There you go. Now, this is coming
They know.
from Micah from.
Golden Boy knows
What
that.
was that?
Golden Boy, they know that. As a Golden Boy knows that. Oscar De La Hoya, Joel De La Hoya, everyone knows that.
I'm sure they know their roster, but, hey, I had to throw that one in
Yeah,
there. And he sent me a question to ask. I'm asking, my man. So shout out to Joel De
right.
La Hoya. This next question is coming from Mike Eframowitz, Vice President of Combate Americas. Now, here's something to think about,
Okay.
Jose. How would you do against Floyd Mayweather if you were to fight right now?
Man, it's hard to say. I don't know where Hanson, but man, I feel like I'm reaching my peak, in my career, and I got the confidence and the hunger to just go after the man without respecting who Mayweather is. That's the way I'll fight him. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say how the fight will play off. But I
That's
could
such
tell
a
you that much.
landmine question.
I wouldn't be afraid to go after Mayweather right now. Maybe when Mayweather was on his prime at 147, when he was beating these guys, there was a different story. But right now, I'll go in there knowing that he hasn't been in the gym for a long time and with an actual good fighter, So I think
There you are.
I feel like I just go out there and jump on him.
Now, Jose, are your boots tight right now? Your shoes pretty tight right now? You're pretty set? You ready?
Yeah.
You ready for this one? Okay. Jose, this is coming from Regis Prograis. In a perfect
All
boxing
right.
world, if you could choose your 3 next opponents, who would they be and why?
Man, well, we got Pusto, who's the mandatory. Then we have Darsh Taylor, who has the other 2 belts. And then make my move to the welterweight division and face most likely a go after a title eliminator for the WBO to face Crawford. Man, Regis, he has no title belts, man. he needs to work his way back up. He has no titles. Why should I go after a guy with no titles?
Hey, I'm just asking the
But
questions.
I'm
He said, if you could choose,
yeah, yeah.
no, he said
I'm
if you
just
could
talking
choose
to
your
him.
three, who would they be? What was that, Jose?
I'm telling him. I'm telling him get himself back in the top. Go after Hooker
Some hardware.
if he wants. And I'll be happy to face him in the 147 division.
And that was the next question. He says, if Jose unifies at 147, and if he is successful, no, I'm sorry, unifies at 140 and he's successful,
Yeah.
will Jose move up to 147 or fight Teofimo or Devin Haney?
No, those guys. They're younger. So I would love to challenge myself and go after the big guys. And go after guys like Crawford instead. That's what I'll do.
Okay.
Teofimo, Devin Haney, they they got room for them to mature and they can make great fights between each other. I think for me, I would like to challenge myself and go after a more solid name like Crawford.
Okay. Thank you, Jose. This question is coming from Andy Vincent.
Okay.
Who does Jose want to unify with? Does he really want the Crawford to fight?
I want to become undisputed against Josh Taylor, and then after that, I would love to make my move to welterweight division and go after the champions there too, Richard. That's my goal, man. It's get all the titles. I'm not leaving the super lightweight until I give myself the opportunity to fight for other world titles, and then I move to the 147. I know a lot of people are saying they're putting words in my mouth, saying, "Oh, Jose might just move after the Postal fight and go after Crawford." Now, I'm telling you right now, and I told a lot of people already. I want Josh Taylor next.
There you go. That's nice and clear. This next question is from Mike Rodriguez, the cut man for Manny Pacquiao. What are your feelings
Okay.
about possibly fighting in an empty arena as opposed to you fighting in your hometown in a sold-out Save Mart Center?
Yeah, it'll be tough. It'll be different. But part of being a good fighter, you got to learn to adapt and face adversity. And having no crowds, seeing something new, it's part of some of those adversities that you have to face and we have to adapt. And as fighters, we have to perform. A good fighter performs anywhere, just like the Roosters.
There you go. Hey, I really want to move on from this, but I mean, he's really blowing me up. Last question from Regis. Who was your idol as a fighter growing up?
Salvador Sanchez. Salvador Sanchez, I think. Um, Once I started seeing him on YouTube and stuff like that. But when I first started boxing, I will have to say Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya, because he was out of East LA. He was an Olympian. He became a world champion very young. He took boxing to another level. Uh, and him and Chavez, my family, they will see the fights with all the neighbors on the block. We'll put the TV outside and the whole block will come in and watch the fight. So I will have to say, Chavez, Oscar De La Hoya, and Salvador Sanchez was someone I admire.
There you go. I like this question. This is coming from Shelly Hollis, professional videographer. Ask Jose when me and you can do a documentary on him, meaning myself and him could do a documentary with you.
I'm always open to those ideas, Richard. Riverside, you guys have a home. Robert Garcia, he opens the doors to everyone. So you guys are welcome, man. Let's just put it together. You can contact Rick. We can get something done.
Okay, Shelly, thanks for the question. Now, here's the last one, Jose, and then I want to move on a little bit. This is coming from Aaron from Grizzly Fest, a buddy of yours, actually the birthday boy.
Oh,
What's the
happy
most
birthday,
positive?
Eric.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah,
most
it's his birthday
positive
today.
thing that has come your way since the layoff due to the coronavirus?
Just probably spend time with the family. Spend some time with my son. Settle down a little bit. I was up and down as a professional a fighter. We go to camps, then we come, and then we travel. So I'm able to spend some time with the family, spend time in the farm that I just bought, and to be able to do this, man, to be able to help farm workers to make a difference, you know. So when this thing is over, you know, I could say I was able to still make somewhat a difference, even, you know, when people thought nothing could be done, you know. I was still able to, me and my team and the people I know, we were still able to do something positive. So that's something that I think it's great too.
There you go. Hey, this guy says, make sure I ask the last one, and that'll be it. I'll move on from that. Al Perez from Main Events Boxing.
Okay.
You know Al Perez, yeah. He said,
Of
how
course,
many
yeah.
drag-out fights has Jose had with his manager, Rick?
Oh man, too many,
Okay. Enough
too
said
many.
from there. I guess we're gonna move on from here. Jose, let's talk about your farm, man. I mean, when you're there, is that your place of serenity? Is that where Jose gets to be Jose, the human being, the regular person?
Yeah, man, I got a 15-acre lot, and I got some chickens, and I'm trying to get some cattle and different types of animals. You know, showing my son a little bit of you know, living and being around dirt. You know what I mean? I want him to have a strong immune system, so I have him playing in the dirt. You know, I don't want him to grow up in a private school, but I don't want him to think that he's, you know, that things came easy. You know, I want him to learn how to work, and I have him with a small little shovel, and we're moving sand uh, into different pens, chicken pens, so they can have good sand. So I'm out there just it's like a vacation home, you know.
There you go. Cole, as a fighter, I don't want to say former fighter because I know you still got that right hand, and you looked at me about 3 shows ago getting ready to unload it on me. Um, Cole, how important is it for a prize fighter, any fighter for that matter, to have their place of serenity?
I'd say it's really, really important. I wouldn't know if I would necessarily narrow it down to just prize fighters. I think anybody in any long-term, say, career or project or endeavor, guys that'll go like 6 months out of their life on like an architect project, and then all of a sudden they have free time now and they don't know what to do with themselves. It's the same thing. You have to have a mental release or an area, something to do with your life that you can mentally separate yourself from. Like Jose said, he just separates himself entirely from boxing and anything to do with boxing, and that's what you got to do is you have to mentally separate yourself and just kind of go on a mental vacation. Diego Sanchez would probably agree with me, but like a mental vacation so that you can separate yourself from that aspect of your life to remind yourself that, hey, there's other parts of my life that I do enjoy. There's other aspects. There's other things I'm good at. And it gives you the opportunity to explore those in between training camps, so to speak, like little.
Jose, if you had just to do it for one day to work out, man,
He's right,
with
man.
the
He's right.
UFC, very well said. Jose, if you had the opportunity just for maybe a week or maybe a couple of days to work out with some UFC fighters, what 2 UFC fighters would you pick? Let me change that.
Probably,
We'll say MMA fighters.
you know, I don't. Doesn't matter, man. I'll be happy to work with anybody. It'll be nice to learn some
Jose,
jiu-jitsu and some other wrestling.
Jose, you're supposed to say Cole Escobedo, man.
Cole Escobar, definitely. I mean, he's right here, man. I want him to definitely uh,
That
tell
does
me,
that
invite
does
me
bring
over
up a
so
good
he
question
could
though.
teach me something. Yeah.
How
Uh,
far into boxing do you ever see like kind of like what Floyd and Connor did? Do you ever see yourself crossing over? I would imagine it'll probably when you're completely done with boxing. That way you're not mixing injury
right.
risk by trying to do 2 combat sports at once. Do you ever have an interest in trying out MMA? Have you thought about it, or have you thought about it and just said, you know what, no, boxing's about the most damage I want to do to my body, and I'm gonna spend all my risk and all my profitability in boxing versus sharing some of that shelf life with MMA that does, in my opinion at least, I think it does accelerate the shelf life a little as far as an athlete's body, just because you're asking for so much on different levels of damage wise, at least. Like you can get kicked in the leg or get your knee blown out or something, you know?
No, definitely, man. I respect MMA fighters. They what they have to go through, man, in a fight. They have to learn not just one thing. They have to learn boxing. They have to learn wrestling, jiu-jitsu, all different types of fighting, and that's something I can't even mess with. That's a whole different sport. I wouldn't be able to probably compete properly in a sport in the UFC and the
Oh,
MMA fighting.
I think you'd be able to. I think just the fact that you can combine different types of boxing styles into one fight based on what your opponent's giving you. I've seen you box,
Just depends
ability
who
to
the fighter
switch
is. Yeah.
regular, southpaw. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you have the ability to switch boxing styles, I think you'd actually have the mental capacity in order to learn how to be good at various things. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's not that just you're a boxer. You're also an athlete. You could probably go and play basketball and probably be pretty good as a point guard. You could probably go and play soccer and probably be pretty good as a wing or a forward. So you just happen to land in the sport of boxing that happened to be the most interesting to you, and you happen to just be really good
Right.
at it athletically. So I think if you jumped into MMA, I think you'd probably do pretty well. I think you'd be good at wrestling. I think you'd be fast. I think your footwork alone would be already steps and levels above everybody
Yeah.
else. And the reality is that with your boxing, all you'd really have to do is learn like a set of sprawl, a proper sprawl, how to sprawl, some ground technique, getting back to your feet, little wrestling things. Other than that, I think you'd be pretty solid. That's why I've always told people Mayweather, I don't think would do very good in MMA, but he'd have a chance if he learned a proper sprawl, because you put tiny gloves on boxers and you teach them how to stay on their feet. Dude, you're putting little gloves on boxers. They knock each other out with big ass gloves on. You put little gloves on, dude, you can put people to sleep like regularly.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it could be. A lot of people growing up, they always said I had good balance. I had good balance, and that's mainly where my power came from. My legs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, but no, I'd be happy to learn. I'd be happy to learn to get some MMA, martial arts, and hopefully we'll see how
You
my
let me
career
know when you're
in
done with the
boxing goes.
boxing,
All right, man.
and we'll find you. There's plenty of camps that would love to take a guy of your caliber and be like, oh, he wants to do MMA too. Oh yes, please, we'll love to have him here. So I already know tons of gyms
Yeah,
that would love to have that caliber. So when you're done knocking people out with
I
your
appreciate
hands,
that
let me
call.
know. We'll teach you how to sleep someone.
All right, my man. Definitely, definitely. Now, it's good for. I think it's good for entertainment too. That sometimes you see fights like that happen when a boxer switches over to UFC and the UFC fighter switches over to boxing. That's. I
It
think
it
that's
can
it's
be
part of
entertaining.
entertainment. It definitely brings the crowd back to their feet. And then they start paying attention on both sports. You get MMA fans who become
Something
boxing
new.
fans, boxing fans who become UFC fans. So it's
Oh
definitely good
yeah.
to see some. Yeah.
Brock
Can,
Lesnar,
can you
he
can,
did it.
can you
He
imagine
did it
that took
really well.
place?
Seeing Jose in an
No,
MMA ring, dude, that'd be awesome.
absolutely. And it says fundraiser, Jose Ramirez in the MMA cage. I mean, I could just see it now. Mart Center. I mean, MGM Grand. I mean, let's get the ball rolling, Jose. Don't just put yourself in one
Yeah.
area because you're an athlete. I've seen you work the soccer ball like you've never come off the field, man.
Yeah.
So your skill set is there.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I could play basketball well. I could play soccer well. I could kick pretty good. I could kick the ball pretty good. I just gotta learn how to, properly hit, someone with the kick. But there's a lot of things that I think that I gotta experience first, and see how I do. Now in my professional, I feel like in the boxing professional level that I am, I feel like I could be in this. I could really see myself being in this level competition for a long time. Hopefully, another at least seven or eight more years in this level competition where you'll see me fight championship fights, 12 round fights. So I'm looking forward to that.
Jose, tell us, what was that call like, that contact like? Because I know you guys known each other before. I'm talking about you and Mario Lopez. And would you ever consider doing any acting along the way?
No, Richard. I'm very focused right now on my career, and I haven't really, I'm a guy who likes to stay focused on at a time. Um, so acting hasn't been in my in my mind. Uh, but I met Mario at the Wirecard boxing gym. He goes out there, he trains. He's a big boxing fan. He knows his boxing. He follows boxing, and he spars. I see him spar, uh, and
Are you
so
talking about
that's
Saved
where
by
we
the Bell,
met.
Mario Lopez?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario Lopez. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I met him at the Wirecard boxing gym. He goes there often. He lives in Glendale, so he just crosses the 101 and goes to the boxing gym there.
There you know, real convenient for him. Jose, once this all passes and the fight game is really taking note again, it's taken off. And once we can go from A to B, man, what's your first meal you're going to take the whole family to have? And where's your first vacation spot?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I just want to get this fight going. I'm gonna be in camp still, Richard. So when this thing's open, when this opens up, I'm gonna be in camp. So I'm not gonna have the luxury to just take off somewhere. So I'm gonna stay in camp. I'm gonna stay here in Riverside. When it's time to get ready for a fight, I'm fully committed. Um, but I'll definitely be happy to stop by different local businesses and bring some business into them and eat at the local restaurants that with that I support, and that they're from Fresno and actually from Avenal. So I'll just eat locally, man. I won't go nowhere far. Bring some
You know what,
business into
Cole?
your communities.
No, exactly. Exactly. I can respect that. Cole, this guy's in fight mode, man. He's taking this interview like he's fighting this Saturday. I respect that. And you're right now, Jose. I mean, you've always been focused and you've always been disciplined. All you want to talk about is hitting somebody. Cole, he's getting ready to kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, no, he's definitely I would tell young fighters or people starting out in their careers, go ahead and take a note of it, because what he's doing is he's giving you guys the opportunity to see what patience is necessary in order to be successful. Like when this whole thing blows over, everyone's want to go do something. Everyone's going to want to go somewhere. They're going to want to go out to eat. They're going to want to go out to all he's going to be able to think about is the discipline of, well, I have to be in fight camp. I have a job coming up. I've been contracted. I have a job to do. I need to be getting ready. So just the fact that that you can have that mental discipline is something that everyone says they can do, but as barricaded and as quarantined as everyone's been lately, I guarantee you a good 75 to 80% of fighters right now with upcoming fights scheduled, all they're thinking about is what beach are they going to go to? What restaurant are they going to eat at? Jose over here is just thinking, what time sparring class? So,
Right. Yeah. I
champions
have
versus
to.
fighters, there's a difference.
We gotta stay focused. That's what it takes, to stay in this level of competition. Again, I'm fighting my mandatory. Talking about the best, ranked number one in the WBC, and then the unified champion Josh Taylor, who most people think that he's the best 140 pounder. So I'm going straight to those big fights. I gotta definitely do my part and stay focused, and I think that's what um, that's part of being in the sport of boxing and contact and combat sports is you have to be very disciplined because there's actually a guy in front of you that's trying to hit you. So you
Yeah.
gotta stay
And if you're
disciplined.
not working out, someone
That's what makes
is.
it right, man. You just always gotta remember, what the other person might be doing. So that use that as motivation for you to work out stronger and push yourself.
Jose, I'm going to ask you a kind of a corny question, man, and correct me if I'm wrong. When's the last time you've worn something other than Nike? Was it the Olympics when you were wearing Adidas?
Actually, the Olympics were sponsored by we got sponsored by Nike too, man. So
Oh, okay.
um,
There you go, man.
it was Everlast. It was Everlast that sponsored the
Okay.
USA boxing, but the USA national team was sponsored by Ralph Lauren and Nike. Um,
Nice.
since then, man, I started since then. They've been big supporters of mine. Um, so I wear it. I sometimes I mean I don't even notice. I just put whatever on.
No, I know that's your brand. You know, I'm one of those, man. When I used to coach, you look good, you play good, you feel good, and to walk around with that
And I
confidence and
work.
that edge, man, it's everything.
Yeah, like we got the top rank uh, boxing gloves that
Nice,
you know yeah
nice. There you go.
so
Nice.
they they're my sponsors now too. So those are the gloves I wear. You got to be loyal to the people that support you. So um,
Very
so it's
well
worked
said.
out.
Absolutely. I want you one day to be loyal to those Dallas Cowboy boxing gloves and wear those one day, man. I've seen those things. Those things are sharp.
I'm saving them. I have two pairs, but I'm saving one. So when I go to and catch them in a game, I'll have them sign the glove. Have the players, have the team
Nice.
sign the gloves.
There
Yeah.
you go. Or I got something better, Jose. Why don't you wear them when you fight at Texas Stadium against you know who? Spence. That'd
Yeah,
be
man.
nice, man.
If I
You know he's a big
That'd be
Cowboy
nice.
fan.
Definitely make some. I wear the gloves I wear, and I've always been wearing them since I started my professional career. It's Reyes, Cleto Reyes, but I'm sure they could customize them and put the Dallas Cowboys colors and the star in the middle. That'd be nice. I like that.
I just had to bring that up, man, because you got some nice gear, man. You're always rocking. You're always, you know, coming out fresh, man. And, you know, that's a big part of who you are. I mean, I've never seen you with anything less. And that's exactly the way you are. I mean, you're a class act inside and outside of the ring. And I'm not just saying it because I've covered your fights since I want to say maybe you're from your fifth on. But just ever since I've known you, you've always been the same person. And I never heard of you before until my brother Larry from Fresno gave him a big shout out. He said, Rich, there's this kid on the Olympics from Avenal, and he has that McDonald's cup. Remember those?
Oh yeah. I got sponsored by McDonald's.
Exactly. And Charles Tremblay, I used to coach his daughter. He said, Rich, working out with this guy, Jose Ramirez, he's the next champion of the world. He said that from day one. So you got a lot of people believing in you, man, and you continue to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Man, I got Charles Tremblay sitting 5 feet away from me right now. He's right there.
There he is.
There you go.
That's him right there, man. No, that's real talk. Charles already knows, man. Charles can
No,
tell
he
you some
like
stories.
he started. He was a strength and conditioning coach that I've been with since be right before the Olympics, from the Olympic tryouts. So I've been very loyal to him, and he's been good to me. So I bring him with me, and it's actually now he's buying a house here close to Riverside. So I'm gonna be staying there. I'm gonna save some money, and I'm gonna go crash his place now. He's about to get his keys in the next couple weeks, and he's
Oh, there you
training
go.
Virgil Ortiz. He's working with all the fighters here at Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy. He's done good, man. And I told Charles, listen, man, I'm gonna stay with you until the end of my career. So man, I told him that a long time ago because when I first moved to the wild card, to start and started training with Freddie Roach. There was strength and conditioning coaches. I would go there and they would want to work with me and stuff like that. But I had the chemistry. I had the chemistry with Charles and that I liked. And that's the type of guy I am. Once I have that chemistry with someone, and that bond, that means more than their status in the sport, how long they've been coaches, or how many world champions before. If I don't have the chemistry with them, it's not gonna work out. I like the I like
And that's
the
good.
I like the environment that people are willing to learn. I don't like coaches that think they know it all.
Well, you know what? Charles continues to reinvent himself. Whatever's coming and whatever
Yeah,
needs to be done, whether it's your shoulders, your legs, your quads, whatever it is, he's on top of things.
we're gonna call him Dr. Charles. He's going after his he just got his master's a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, and now he's working on his doctorate. So he's working. I mean, he's really invested a lot in himself too. So I'm very happy for him to do that. And he's always learning, like I said, and I appreciate that because that makes me a better fighter too, as he shares his knowledge with me.
No, very well said. We've had Charles on the show before, as Coach Escobedo can tell you, and we've talked to him about, hey, man, we want to be there when he's having that book signing, because I truly believe all his knowledge, he needs to put it on paper and share it with the world.
Agreed.
Cole, so listening to Jose and, continue to be faithful to his whole team, how much of a plus is that, as opposed to some fighters, they want to try new adventures and new walks?
It's really important to the progressional future of your fighter too. Remember, if you don't trust your team, you don't trust your coaches, you're not going to respond to them correctly and stuff. So being able to have that relationship, have that trust, like Jose said, he has to have that rapport. If you don't have that, the chemistry, it's just not going to work. You're not going to respond right. You're not going to listen as much as you think you should. It's just, you're going to have all kinds of different breakdown as far as the communication of teaching you what you need to do or trying to improve you as an overall athlete. So it's good when you, like I said before in the past, have the right team around you, you'll be successful. But it's a touch and go process. But just because a fighter wants to go try out something new, doesn't necessarily mean anything's bad with that particular coach or trainer that he's using at that time. He just might want to try something because it's what he feels might be more adequate or geared towards that particular fight. Maybe sometimes he comes back for his regular training with his coach, but some coaches can get offended by that. I haven't met any. Well, I've met both. I take it back. I met both, but majority of the coaches I've come across are usually pretty cool about that.
How tough is it when you know that you have to make a change? How tough is that talk, that discussion when you have to move on?
Well, it really depends. It depends on why. His variables is the why. The variable in that decision making is, why are you leaving that gym? Why are you leaving that particular coach? If the environment that's being created by the coach just isn't conducive to your progression as an overall fighter or athlete anymore, or they want to bury you, they don't want to change the training methods, they don't want to think about new techniques or new practices, they don't want to let you cross-train with another coach, they're not really thinking about you as a whole, you as a fighter at that point. They're thinking about more of their image or their self-image as far as a coach. So it really depends how hard that conversation is going to be. Is really going to be dependent on the why. I know some coaches that I've talked to before about, I just want to go cross-train. They're fine with it. I've known coaches before that are like, no, you have to train at this gym and this gym only. Well, that just doesn't really work. I've seen too many people that have been successful cross-trained versus those that haven't. So that can be a real touchy conversation, especially if you've grown a good friendship with that coach over time, which I would imagine if you've got a good positive friendship with them, that your decision is based solely on you trying to better yourself as a fighter, and they should support that. And if they don't support it, you probably don't need them in your circle anyway.
And it comes down to trust, and it does come down to loyalty. Cole, through this whole coronavirus, man, I've been paying attention to a lot of different things, and you really start to find out, honestly, who people are, who people really are during this time of struggle, so to speak, during this time of change, during this time of sometimes just too much time in your hands. What's your whole take on that? And I'm talking about the whole social media back and forth adventure.
I don't know if I've necessarily noticed anything different based on this particular global incident, because you see stuff like this all the time. I think the biggest thing I'm noticing is how many people, but how large of a society that we've gotten comfortable with this whole, something happens and it blows over and a week or two goes by and we're moving to the next thing. I think as a society, as a race, humans as a whole, we've just gotten too comfortable and too complacent with that when something doesn't blow over in like a week or two, everybody kind of starts getting weird. Like they don't quite know what to do. They're not quite sure how come we're still talking about the same thing. So because everybody's used to just the next thing, it's kind of weird in that sense. So I've noticed people's truer, I guess more true natures are coming out. I guess you're starting to see, because people are less concerned about what people think anymore because they're in quarantine. They don't care. It's like going to the supermarket in your sweatpants. They don't care. They're in quarantine. Well, you could care a little, So, yeah. But I do notice that in a sense. It's just that you see a little bit every time. But like I said, it's just that everything moves on to the next thing. Things go back to normal for a minute, or what's perceived as normal. And then the next incident happens or whatever, the next hashtag or whatever happens, the next distraction, so to speak, if my tinfoil hat theory on it. So It's just that this is just one of those things where you're really going to start seeing people longer than you're used to for how humanity acts as the norm. And that's what I call humanity, because as a norm, as a consistent number, a large group of us, I think the people that act in a horde mentality and a sheep mentality, unfortunately outweigh those that don't. So yeah, I mean, I think we're just seeing more of it now because things haven't gone back to normal and our normal like week or two expectation or rotation kind of thing.
No, I know. I hear you, man. I mean, one of the things getting used to for personally myself is the whole setup during the downtime. I want to say during the whole coronavirus thing. You know, even the podcast. But I love to be challenged, and I love to get used to different things and challenge ourselves and how we conduct ourselves. You know, in the timing. I will say this though, I do appreciate what we have more than ever before. Once it's almost stripped from you, once it's almost the handcuffs put on you, so to speak, and you start to realize
I missed the studio.
how good they had it. Oh, we got a great studio. I mean, you know, we got a great producer in KP, and you know, it doesn't get any better than that. And but for us to make the adjustment as well as he's making the adjustment, I mean, it goes a long way for everybody, because everybody has to continue to push forward.
Yeah.
Everybody has to continue to face it and go through that adversity, man.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's one of those things where, like, I feel we've hit our, as much as we have to rely on each other, I feel we've hit this. Remember that Roman apex kind of thing I talked about, like as a society, like we've hit the point to where our progression, our growth as a species has kind of halted. I think we've peaked on what we can be as a society as far as like ending world peace, going to space, like things that we should have already achieved by now, because we can't decide on Coke and Pepsi in the same goddamn room. But I think that's one of the main factors. I think this is something that's going to happen, a devastating global event like this is going to happen in order for us to move forward, in order for us to progress, in order for us to really buckle down and go, you know what, we really do need a solid plan that is just the standard operating procedure for A, B, and C. Like, we've really, our infrastructure as a whole is laughably capable of handling this stuff.
Exactly. Oh, did we get him back?
Hey, Jose is back.
Hey,
And he had a backpack on.
I think he pulled a Chris Honeycutt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jose, that's an inside joke. I'll tell you a quick story. Chris Honeycutt, MMA Bellator fighter, now fighting in Russia. He was on the show. We're doing it live. In the middle of the conversation, he goes, "Guys, I got to go to the restroom." He just got up and left. So every time someone disappears, we think that's what happened.
No, my battery was low and my phone died.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you rejoining us, man. And you came right at the end. You heard right at the end when you're hearing the 10 count. I mean, the ring apron get hit because you're getting ready to. There you go. Get ready to rally. Jose, what do you want to leave us with? What do you want to tell all the fans? What have we not covered that you want to cover right now? The stage is yours.
Well, listen, guys. Stay safe during this pandemic. Stay home. Take care of your family. Let's work together so we can get things back and running. Back to normal. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate all the fans who support combat sports, MMA, boxing. It's thanks to you guys that we have motivation and that drive for us to push ourselves and do what we do best. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Richard, for having me on the show. And I'll see you guys soon.
Cool beans, Rich. Thanks for giving us your time, Jose.
Oh, thank you, man. And I'll be calling you guys. I'll be calling you, Cole, so we can start on the wrestling. So we can start on the jiu-jitsu, start on the wrestling, on the kicks and all that, man. Get me going.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
I want to see that, man. Fighter's Voice exclusive on that. Hey, before we go, Jose, I'll text you later on. We want to make a donation. It's something that I like really doing on the air. I don't like making YouTube videos of me giving out something or giving away something. That's really not my style. I like to do it behind the scenes, but we are going to contribute what we can, because it's a great cause. I don't just want to talk about it. We want to be about it. And I want to thank all the questions that came in, and even Regis Prograis, man, class act on his questions. Raquel Miller, Andy
Right.
Vincent, Aaron,
All,
all the
all
questions
champs.
that came in. And if I missed somebody, I apologize. But Jose, I'd be honest with you, when you're on the show, these questions came in left and right. As we're speaking, my phone's still blowing up, man. But everybody wants to ask what's going on with Jose Ramirez.
I'm just looking forward to getting with Victor Pustol and then go after bigger and better things, and to Regis, I'll be more than happy to face a champion like him, maybe in the welterweight division, as I only have two more fights, maybe three if Jack Catterall wants to get in the way, as this is my mandatory for the WBO. But I hopefully, he takes the money and takes a step aside, money, so I could face Taylor and Josh Taylor and watch the two best perform, and then he go after the WBO after I vacate the title as I move to the next division. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to face Regis in the 147 division. Um, I'll be more than happy to train pretty soon with Cole on the MMA martial arts, uh, and to be back on your show pretty soon, Richard, when training camp starts, man.
I appreciate that, man. I have a feeling we're going to be working together soon, man. I'm just feeling that in my gut. I don't know what capacity, but I just feel something right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to The Fighter's Voice. It's always a pleasure and honor to be viewed by you and to have the platform that we have. I want to thank Jose Ramirez for taking time out of his training camp. As always, I thank Co Escovedo for being the faithful co-host that he is, and he's irreplaceable. And the month of May, we're doing something special. It's for all the whole month. All our guests are going to be all females. It's going to be a tribute to Mother's Day. Even though you're not a mother as a guest, you came from a mother. So all our guests are going to be all females. So I'm going to do my best to get everybody out there. I'm trying to get a hold of Nancy Rodriguez, Michelle Phelps, Shelly Swanson. Keep it local too. We want Jenna the Gym, Chris. Miller is going to be on the show, and as much as I can, we're going to fill up that card. Zoila Frosto from Fresno, California. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for tuning in. It's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week.
Remember,
It's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.